What's going on, everybody? Ian here for Cult of Mac, and after spending some time digging through both the developer betas and public betas of iOS 13 and iPadOS 13, it's clear there's lots of huge changes coming to the platform this year. And while Apple spent a lot of time at WWDC showing off a ton of the cool features that are coming, there's a bunch of stuff that either didn't make the keynote or was too small to really make a splash at WWDC. So while I don't have time to make a full video about every tiny little feature coming to iOS 13 this year, here are some of the best and most exciting ones coming to the platform this year. To kick off the list, mouse support is finally coming to the iPhone and iPad, which is something people have been asking for quite a while. Now, this setting, which allows you to add pointing devices to your iOS devices, is under the accessibility features. Pointing device support is tucked inside the assistive touch settings, and it allows you to pair a host of USB and Bluetooth pointing devices for a more ergonomic experience. The basics of mouse support are pretty rudimentary, but also pretty standard. A click on the mouse works as a touch on the screen, a long click on the mouse works as a long press on the screen. It's really just emulating your finger. And if your mouse supports multiple buttons or even a secondary button, you can program those additional buttons to do other features within iOS, such as expose the dock or bring up multitasking. It's a pretty cool experience, and it makes the pointing device a more functional tool than, say, using your finger on the screen, especially if your iPad is docked or in a stand. Next up on the list is low data mode. Now, there's two parts to low data mode. The first of which is if you're on one of those cellular plans that has, a limited amount of data to use each month, low data mode basically lets you turn that feature on and use less data when you're using your iOS device. Now, I'm not entirely sure what all of that means, what's reduced in the low data mode. Some of it could just be the amount of background refreshing that happens, similar to what happens with low power mode. But the idea is that it's going to use less data on your iOS device to prevent you from having those overages or spending additional money to use your iOS device when you're on your cell connection. Now, the other side of that is the Wi-Fi low data mode, which may not be for most people, but if you're stuck in an airport or on an airplane or in a hotel or using a mobile hotspot when you're out and about, having the ability to turn your Wi-Fi data usage down on a Wi-Fi by Wi-Fi network basis could be great for preventing you from incurring overages or reduced speeds. Next up on the list is the opposite of the low data mode. Now, for a long time, Apple's been slowly raising the bar on what size apps you can download over a cell connection on your iOS device. Now in iOS 13, not only have they raised that bar, they've completely removed the bar entirely. So if you have an unlimited data connection or don't care about using your cellular data to download apps, you can now do that no matter how big the app is, right from your cell connection on your iOS device. Now, downloading an app larger than 150 megabytes will pop up a little prompt on the screen. You can simply opt to say, yes, I'm fine using my cell connection, and it will download an app no matter the size over your cellular network. Now, I still prefer to download apps over Wi-Fi because it's generally more consistent and I get a little bit better speeds most of the time. But that's not to say that sometimes I need to download an app when I'm out and about, and so I need that app to download right now anyway. Next up on the list is a feature that's supposed to help out your overall battery life. The optimized battery charging, which is under the battery settings, under battery health, is pretty genius. Now, most people say that charging your device overnight and leaving it pegged at 100% for several hours is hard on the battery and can degrade the overall life of the device. Optimized battery charging essentially does the easy part of the charge, the part that's not so hard on your battery, right away, and then it will just hold the battery at 80% until about an hour before you're going to wake up, and then it completes the charge up to 100, so that when you unplug your device in the morning, you have a full battery, but you've done less harm to your iPhone's battery, over the course of the night. Next up is possibly one of the best unannounced iOS 13 features, and it's very specific to iPhone, and it addresses a problem that we're all experiencing lately. And now Apple's taking a stab at solving that problem. With their Silence Unknown Caller feature, basically anyone who calls you who's not saved in your contacts list gets sent straight to voicemail, the phone never rings on your end, and you never have to deal with the spam calls. Then if you need to go back and review who it was that called, those calls are just logged as a recent call, and they can leave a message if they need to, meaning that if it's something important or someone that you need to get a hold of, they can leave a message still and you can still contact them back and, kind of complete that circle. Moving right along, the next one on the list is a finally type feature, which is actual useful search in messages and iOS. So in the past, if you tried to search for a message that contained a certain word, you could hit the search field and type in whatever your query was. But odds are you weren't going to get something very useful as a result. Instead, you'd end up with maybe one match, even though you know that word has happened thousands of times. Now in iOS 13, you can type in a keyword in the search box and get a result of every message that matches that keyword. Now, obviously, if you type in something very small like the or and, you're going to get inundated with way too many results. But typing in just the right keyword or phrase could get you, the 4 or 5 messages that match what you're looking for, and they've made it easier, faster, and more visually appealing at the same time. Speaking of faster, more visual, and better, Control Center also got an update in iOS 13, and it was something they didn't spend any time talking about on stage. The new Control Center has a couple new features to it. Number one is a new dark mode widget that you can turn on in Control Center, meaning that when you pull down Control Center, you can just quickly tap and switch from light mode to dark mode and back and forth as much as you need. Another change to iOS 13 is the ability to quickly join a Wi-Fi network or connect or disconnect from Bluetooth devices right from Control Center, meaning you can pull down, tap on the Bluetooth or Wi-Fi icon, and then from there get a pop-up list of all the available networks where you can simply tap to connect to a Wi-Fi network or tap on a Bluetooth device to connect or disconnect from it, making it quicker than diving into settings and through a menu just to connect to your headphones or to switch Wi-Fi networks. The home section of Control Center is also getting some updates with a new labeled sections. When you actually pop open certain menus, like for a thermostat, you can see all the different features and they're more clearly labeled than they have been in the past. There's also a more persistent toggle, so when you pop up a device menu within the home app, instead of tapping outside of it and having that menu immediately disappear, you now have to hit an X in the corner to dismiss it, meaning you're not going to accidentally, pop up your controls for your light, go to change the colors and accidentally touch just the wrong spot and have the whole menu disappear. Instead, they're a little more persistent and a little more functional and a little more useful for quickly getting in, adjusting a light switch or adjusting the thermostat and knowing exactly what it is that you're adjusting. Moving right along, the final feature of iOS 13 that's getting a change is the new volume slider. The new volume slider allows you to quickly press the buttons on the side of the device, and instead of a pop-up in the center of the screen, blocking everything you're trying to look at while you change the volume, the slider is tucked off to the left side of the screen next to the volume controls, making it easy to quickly adjust the volume without distracting you from whatever it is that you're looking at the same time. Say you're watching a movie, you don't have this big pop-up over the center of the movie, it's just kind of tucked off to the side. You can also grab that volume slider once it's popped up and drag up and down on it with your finger, which allows you to quickly change the volume from high volume to low volume or low volume to high volume if you need to make a very fast adjustment without having to go click, 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 click on the volume controls. At the same time, switching your iPhone on and off of silent mode now has a pop-up pill at the top of the screen, very similar to the Apple Pencil on the iPad Pros. Now when you switch that volume silent switch on or off, a little pop down rolls down from the top of the screen saying that silent mode is on or silent mode is off, allowing you to quickly know that it's happened without distracting you from everything else you're doing. So like I said before, these are just a few of the big changes that didn't get announced on stage or were kind of tucked away this year in iOS 13. So if there's something you're really excited about, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. If there's something you were really hoping for that still hasn't made it in or probably isn't going to make it in this year, let me know that too. While you're there, hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this, or if there's something that's coming this year you're very excited about. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell so you don't miss any videos as we upload. And until next time, I'm Ian for Cult of Mac. I'll catch you in the next one.